So welcome to my perpetual AMA, episode 3. It's the 7th episode of the podcast, I think. And if you want, I don't know how to do this. You don't have to introduce yourself. If you'd like to introduce yourself at all, you can. Or if you just prefer to just be just Alicia, that's cool too.
My name's Alicia. I live in a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio.
All right.
I am a hairdresser by trade. So I am, completely out of work right now. I have 3 kids. I've been married. My husband and I will be married 20 years in May.
Wow.
I got a little bit of life experience, that kind of thing. So I would love to be able to offer a little bit with everything that's going on right now, for sure.
Nice. And Tribe fan, I assume?
Of course, if you're going to follow baseball.
Yes, I definitely am.
Do orange and brown, though. Cleveland Browns forever. So
see, I'm a Bills fan. I can't deal with this. I'm down the lake in Western New York.
Okay. Yeah. But Lake Erie Bros.
Yeah, that works. We both hate the Steelers. We probably both hate the Patriots. It all works out.
Absolutely.
So I'll go through these one at a time. No pressure to have any good advice, but anything that comes into mind, just go for it. As long as I don't think we'll be doing any net harm to people by answering their questions. So our first one's from Find a Path, and it's from Joey H92989. 30M looking for the right path. He's currently a product manager. He's looking for a career change, but struggling to align my interests with what I should pursue. I'm currently a product manager at a software firm. Since college, I've had 4 jobs, all in product for software teams. They've ranged from 80 to 100K employee orgs. While I originally thought that maybe the size of the culture was the bad fit, I'm starting to realize maybe I'm doing something I don't enjoy, and that is pain and stress that I'm feeling. So some things about his job he doesn't love: bad hours. He can never leave at work. It's high stress all the time. He's always responding to emails. He's the single point of failure, which product managers are. And he feels he made a fair amount of money early in his career, but doesn't get to enjoy it the way he'd like. He's interested in video games, but he doesn't get to play them much. Board games, like the more complex and strategy-oriented. Traveling, learning and teaching. Loves technology. Loves working with his hands. I'm trying to think of his next steps to find something that makes me happy and open to all advice. What do you think?
Well, one of the things that, I know a lot of young professionals are doing is that whole FIRE method, that financial responsibility thing, so they can retire early. If he's making, if he's comfortable and he's making the money that he's looking at making, that is something absolutely that he could look into. My brother-in-law had great success with it. He is now in his early 40s. He's working part-time, and he always wanted to be a carpenter. So now he's doing, he's doing custom pieces for people, and it's something that he really enjoys, while still being able to, have that financial responsibility, and is able to do it that way. And he said that part of his joy is that he knew it was the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So, maybe that's something that he could look forward to, putting his money to work in a different way like that, just so he can kind of, so he can pursue his hobbies a little bit more freely, with free time that'll open up in the future.
That's not bad. I was thinking, so he's a product manager. I don't know if you know any product managers, but it is really it's actually a title I gave somebody advice to go into on the last episode, but it's also a really stressful job. You are the single point of failure, and people are always hounding you because you're this touch point between what customers want in a product and marketing, and you have to kind of make it all connect. It sounds like he's got a little bit of a creative bug, and I was thinking maybe something in marketing might be more his speed. You can be a little more creative, and it's way less stress. I'm in marketing now, and it's it's pretty fun for a creative. But this is it seems like either of those could be a good. But I agree with you. Making time for the stuff he loves is probably important.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it could be even as something as simple as, I know I said I was a hairdresser by trade, but I'm actually the salon manager.
Oh,
so,
cool.
I understand that. And I understand, I am kind of I wear a lot of different hats at the salon. And one of the things, you know, I just make sure I put my phone down and I make sure I walk away and I make sure my boss knows that. You know, I know obviously my time could probably be a little bit more extended than, you know, a product manager's, but, you know, just making sure that you do walk away for that time. I mean, we're only here for a limited amount and we need to make it worth it. So, I mean, is something really going to devolve? And I mean, maybe you do know this, but I mean, is something really going to devolve over 3 hours at, you know, 6 o'clock on a Sunday?
Never. It never
You know?
is. And that company doesn't care a bit about you too. Like they really, if it came down to it, they're not accountable to your life at all or your choices, you know?
Right. So, I mean, you know, so just making that conscious effort. Don't look at Reddit. Don't play one of those stupid little mobile games that we all have on, you know, that kind of thing. And just, you know, and taking that time, you know, even if it's just, you know, playing with your dog or playing a video game. I mean, the dude loves him and he just doesn't seem like he can make any time for him. Then you make a date to play, you know, Call of Duty or whatever he's playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all excellent advice because it really, and he's 30 now, and I'm guessing you've been married for 20 years. You're probably around 40. I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
It's you really want that time when you're as soon as you get to about 40, you start thinking like, at least I did. God, you value time way more than the money, way more than the stress at work. It's really all about the time. So. All right, Joey, I hope that helps. And let's go to the next one. So next is from Overlord Pumpkin, and this was in Deciding to Be Better. Help with planning for April. Hello, everyone. I'm a big planner, and at the end of each month, I plan out my next month. However, due to how up in the air things are in the world right now, I'm really struggling. Will I be able to go swimming again at the Y by the end of April? Will I be able to go to my dietitian? How often can or should I do groceries? I want to be safe and practice proper social distancing so I don't put myself or others at risk, but it's giving me some anxiety having things so up in the air. The easy solution is just not to fill things in and wait, which is true, but planning helps me have a sense of normalcy. I'm thinking of doing something like putting exercise instead of swimming to adjust. I'm just looking for other ideas to help fill my planning blocks while isolating, maybe things like remote waterfall hikes or something. Any suggestions? Any other planners struggling with this? So I will defer in the hope that you are a planner because I am not.
Yeah. Okay. So, what I've been doing is that I've delved into a lot to the online offerings that are out there. So like I've always wanted to see Les Mis on Broadway.
Okay.
So the Broadway package right now that they're offering is 7-day free trial. So my 15-year-old son and my 15-year-old son fell in love with Les Mis. So we actually have a planning date for that. And I told him, I said, we're going to get dressed up a little bit. I mean, not dressed, but I mean, out of our pajamas. Yeah. And, you know, and we're going to get dressed and we're going to sit down and we're going to watch it on, you know, we're going to watch it and enjoy it and, you know, just kind of pretend that we're there. So we're making, I'm going ahead and I'm making out those blocks. I'm making out, you know, the schedule of, you know, that we are going to do this at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, that we're going to do, you know, like the Broadway thing. We're going to do that at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday because that's the only time I can afford tickets if we actually were to go. You know, that kind of thing. Other than that, you know, just finding more like rec time for, you know, what we're doing. I'm making a plan for when we go back. When we are allowed to start working again. We work with a lot of the beauty schools in the area. So, you know, I'm working on my future plan. So I'm probably more like in June at this point. This has definitely been a curveball and it's probably not the exact thing that you're looking for. Yeah, I suck at this. I'm so sorry.
No, that's great. And is there anything, like, this is a little off of the topic of the question, but is there anything during this time that you mentioned, making the time and all that, but like, what have you changed anything in your like day to day that you think you're going to take with you when things go back to normal, whatever that was?
I think I'm going to be more mindful. I think I'm going to be more mindful about how I spend my time, where I spend my time. being, a little bit more. I have a 45-minute commute from my house to the salon every day. And normally I'll throw on like, you know, some music to get me going or something like that, where I could actually take that time and be in, reflection and that kind of thing. And because it is so uncertain. And I mean, we're living kind of in a surreal time right now. And
Yeah.
just taking that mindfulness with me to move forward, that everything I'm going to do is going to have a purpose. I'm not going to just be idle anymore. Life's too short to be idle.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I've kind of got at least this kind of the same approach, because it was like this nice little break to recognize how good it feels when you do have time to dedicate to something. And it's like, God, I've really got to make time for this stuff, because it's awesome when you have it.
It feeds your soul.
Yeah, it really does.
It does. And it fills you up and lets you go on with the mundane. I don't know of really anyone who really honestly enjoys grocery shopping. I mean, there may be a few people out there who do. I personally don't know of any, but so it just helps us kind of get through that. Oh God, I got to go grocery shopping. Okay. I have to pick up, toilet paper and Lysol or whatever, and it's,
and I don't know if you were like this, but I was in the habit of doing it like every 2 or 3 days too. Like it was like a grocery trip just on the way home from work every 2 to 3 days, just getting what you need for those couple days. And now it's like, maybe 2 weeks from now, I'll try again. I went to Costco last weekend and I was like, this is like a horror movie. I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. But yeah.
So I don't know if we helped you with planning Overlord Pumpkin, but making time for stuff and just adjusting. And it sounds like you're sort of doing that. So sorry, I'm not a planner.
Yeah.
So the next one's from Leewardings, and it's, how do I start writing again? A couple years ago, I was unemployed for 3 months and started writing a novel. I don't know if it's because I was drinking back then or I just had a spark, but I felt really inspired and the writing was flowing out of me. It was a different computer and I don't have a copy anymore, but I'd like to pick up this project again. It feels weird trying to rewrite the beginning and also weird writing a different beginning. I've tried to write again and everything just sucks. And I get through like a page before grinding to a halt. How do I get the flow back? Started writing a novel. That's an undertaking for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Being a creative, we tend to think a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And, it's okay for it not to be good. It's okay for it not to be perfect. And I think that's one of those things that, stops a lot of people from, writing is, because they just sit there and they overanalyze it and they think about it. And it's called a rough draft for a reason.
Yeah.
And, he just needs to let it go, even if he doesn't really have any idea of where it's going. Just getting it out there. I mean, and we creatives, we tend to think of things differently and we're incredibly harsh on ourselves when things don't go perfectly. And you being in the field that you're in, that as well, and that like the whole marketing thing is just, we have to cut ourselves a little bit of slack. And I understand that it can be kind of daunting just to pick up from the beginning again. So pick up in the middle. Yeah. You didn't write that part yet.
And so, frankly, that was me with this podcast idea. That was me. I kept just stalling, like, oh, well, I don't have everything just right and a format the way I want it and all this stuff. Just do it. Just start doing it. And the brute force technique, like you mentioned, is kind of helpful. Like if you just commit to writing 1,000 words about anything a day, eventually your brain is like, it's like any exercise. Your brain just, if you don't do it for a while, your brain's out of practice. So.
Right. And it'll come back and who knows? I mean, the new beginning that whatever he has is probably going to be better than the old one anyway.
Yeah. If I look at stuff I wrote, like last year, it's usually not where I'm at this year. This was a couple years ago. So you might not even like it now. So it's
right. exactly.
Yeah. I just pick up and by brute force, start forcing, just start writing again, and you might get there. Something
Right.
we said just activated Siri on my computer. That was weird.
Oh, that was kind of,
Stay out of
yeah.
this, Siri. All right. Oh, again, this is weird. Well, now I mentioned her by name. All right. Next one's from missplantmami. I want to learn how to be less offended/triggered. Millennial seeking not to find offense to non-politically correct comments /humor/opinions/ideologies, etc. It's exhausting, and I don't want to constantly be upset over things people say. We're both kind of Midwesterners, and I'm sure no strangers to non-politically correct speech in our respective
Right.
communities, especially. What do you think?
Yeah. You know, this is gonna sound so cliche, but the older you get, the less you care. Um,
Right.
you know, I mean, yeah, it's just you don't care anymore because there are so many other things that you
Yeah.
need to give your energy to. And you know, like I call my 17-year-old daughter a snowflake. She's in my phone as my favorite snowflake. You know, yeah,
Brutal.
you know, but I mean, it's a joke now.
Yeah.
You know, and I, I, oh, okay, so you called me fat. Great. I haven't heard that forever. Do you know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. And that's hard. That is so hard trying to explain to a young person.
And it's also cliche, but the only way those words and those things have power is if you do get upset over them. That's
Absolutely.
in some
Right.
cases that's what the person saying them wants. They're looking for the reaction. Why give them that? Like, just know that a lot of times it's just kind of knowing that you're on the right side of history in that in that moment, you know what I mean, and that person is going to at some point step on somebody's toes that costs them a job or costs them a relationship. um, I mean, they're going to be in plenty of pain throughout their life for the way they are, and they'll probably learn from it, hopefully. But it shouldn't bother you, because I mean, that, and often those things come from a place of pain too. Like anybody lashing out or saying like, or it's a defense mechanism, whatever it is, it doesn't always come from a hateful place as much as a fearful place. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, Miss Plant Mommy, I hope that helps. And yeah, don't get so, don't, life is too short to be offended by this stuff. And plus you're also not going to change people. That's the other thing. Like if you think about, like, I don't know, I'm running out of these years where I can change and I can adapt my mind to new things. I recognize that. But if somebody like over the age of 60 says something offensive, they're not going to change. It's on you to change. Like
Right.
that ship has sailed, man. It's just the way the brain works.
And you know, the other thing is too, is that, you know, like, okay, so I have my very bestest friend. We've been friends since kindergarten. I'm now 43, so it tells you how many years we've been friends. Sometimes the stuff that rolls out of her mouth, I'm like, I just stopped talking to her for like the day, because like, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. We'll pick, you know, we'll start talking again tomorrow. Because so the stuff, I'm just like, I can't believe you just said that. So I distance myself from her.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that you could do as well. I mean, you know, even if it is, you know, maybe not necessarily someone of your peer group or whatever, you know, even if it is someone who's older, I mean, you can distance yourself and then come
Yeah.
back in a couple of days and just know not to bring up that subject if it makes you that uncomfortable.
Right. Socially distance. There you go. Yeah.
Socially distant.
Use too right now. So the next one's from our Martian 80. Selfish issue with ice cream. Oh my God, tell me about it. My sister started eating ice cream that I bought. I didn't buy a lot either. It's gluten and dairy free for allergen reasons. So the ice cream's expensive and I don't splurge often. They don't have allergies. One of them's lactose intolerant, but she eats dairy ice cream and cheese regularly. Well, I've completely cut it out for about a year now. They say it's because there's no ice cream, but there is. It's just not branded. They like the flavors, but it isn't Talenti, Klondike, etc. And when they have the opportunity to buy ice cream or anything really, it's always the dairy and gluten kind. So the sharing never goes both ways. My initial reaction is absolutely not. What the hell? But then this awful guilt eats me up because it's so inherently selfish and unkind to my sisters. I'm not selfish with my food. I'm always trying to share, but I've been fighting with myself over this issue. Does anyone have tips with letting it go or making some kind of boundary? I'm torn because this person's so mindful of the fact that they're being like selfish. They're like, I feel horrible about this, but
yeah. My heart right now, because that's exactly it. Yeah. Oh.
Do any of your kids have this, like a specific food that's their food and the other kids can't touch it and they break that rule?
No, but they eat my ice cream a lot. So.
Oh, see, that's sacrilege. You don't come from mom's ice cream.
Yeah, you
Don't do that.
Well, because I'll buy myself the special little pints, and then they get regular ice cream. But yeah. So I mean, she has such a huge heart. I mean, honestly, for
that's really sweet,
wanting
right?
to see her. Especially since that the gluten-free, lactose-free, the specially made ice creams like that for allergens is so expensive.
Yeah.
I did peep the comments a little bit on that thread though, and they were talking about, the woman, somebody suggested maybe portioning out for some for her sisters to share.
Oh.
And, I like that idea, but on the other hand, it's like, no, it's a pint of ice cream. Let her eat her own ice cream.
Yeah. I like this one. Get authority. I mean, you need to escalate this to the Supreme Court of mom or dad and,
right.
Get action on this, because like, even if it's just a household rule that we're only going to buy that type of ice cream until they can behave or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, but my heart goes out to her for sure. Cause
I'm also an only child, so I never had this issue.
Good. No, I just, it's, I mean, my kids kind of battle it out among themselves a little bit if one of them does bring something special home. But I mean, they're pretty respectful of boundaries, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, we'll get mad, but we get over it real quick. And I'm sure that's kind of like the same thing that's going on in her house.
Yeah.
I just, I would definitely escalate it to the powers that be in the home and be like, hey, tell them to quit eating my ice cream because,
yeah, either that or get on the gluten-free or get on the gluten-free train, and that's all we buy from now on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just buy a surplus.
Absolutely.
Or you need a secret freezer, like you need a secret freezer under your bed or something that
right.
little mini cooler that you keep stocked with ice.
Exactly.
Right. Next one is from Basilius Malacca. I can't say that. 23M, uneducated and unskilled, looking for advice. Hello, everyone. I haven't finished high school as we left our country a year before I could have finished it. Now we're in my mother's country, Thailand, and I can't seem to get any decent jobs. So naturally, I'm looking for a career path that could work here in a developing country and under my circumstances that wouldn't require a university or high school degree. Any ideas and advice are welcome. It seems like they're proficient enough in English. They wrote this quite well. And I just know from my own experience, like freelancing, that on like freelance sites like Upwork or Fiverr, if you are fluent in more than one language, and if you're fluent in whatever language you're speaking in Thailand, that's a huge opportunity to, without an education, to start freelancing and translating stuff for people. I know the company I currently work for, we send everything out to translate into like 13 languages, and we're always looking for better ways to do that. And a lot of languages are in short supply. So is Thai the language of Thailand? I should know this, but whatever it is, if you can translate well, that's a great idea as far as a good hustle to start on and start working on. And then with the U.S. military, I know they're always hiring translators. That's a huge in-demand opportunity, even at the federal government level. And I'm sure Thailand probably has a need for two-way translations as well. What do you think?
Yeah, that was my first guess, because I mean the post is written exceptionally well in English.
Yeah,
And then I read too on Reddit all the time about like the English teachers in Southeast Asia.
yeah,
Um,
that too.
you know, so I mean, there's a couple different things that he could go that way about it. I was completely gobsmacked when I read it. I was like, I have no idea I have no idea.
Yeah,
But
that's a
yeah,
tough one. And it's tough. It's also tough to understand like what the um, what kinds of socioeconomic factors they're facing, like what the job market in Thailand is like. That's why I went. My mind immediately went to the virtual. Like I know you can make a career from anywhere with freelancing and with gig economy sites and stuff. So I hope that helps. We can't help everybody. Sometimes we can. Next one's from Ryan Long, 770, 18M, soon to be senior in college. At 18, soon to be senior in college? Good job, Ryan Long. Hey there, Reddit. And I need help. Hey there, Reddit. Background first. I'm actually 18 and a senior in college. I was able to do this before my governor, Brian Kemp, cut the aid for dual enrollment. I was able to get an associate's degree from a community college near my high school. I think this is the premise for Doogie Howser. So this is how I was able to do it in a much shorter time. I feel like in a way I've managed to shoot myself in the foot though, because I've risen through the ranks, so to speak, so quickly. I've not had a lot of real world experience apart from working at a local grocery store. And I don't know what I want to do or how to even begin searching for it. I've been worrying actually about declaring my major in college simply because I don't really have any idea of what I would want to major in. I would like to major in business, that's what my associate's degree is in, and I like the potential of making a lot of money. The thing is, I understand most money is not made at one place. It's often mixed between 3 to 4 sources of income. Is this true? That really makes someone wealthy, and I'd love to be that someone later on down the road. My predicament is that I have no idea what I'd like to do to start. I don't mind working with people, though it can be exhausting if I have to do it for too long, and I can listen to instructions fairly well. I'm not the most talented with math, but with a little bit of studying and practice, I can do decently on exams that involve formulas and statistics. Is there anything I can do to help me anything I can do to help steer me in the direction I would like? Should I just pick one and hope for the best, or something else entirely? Thank you for reading. I know this is sort of lengthy. What do you think?
well, being 18, you know, a lot of in a business degree, that's not necessarily a bad idea.
Mm-mm.
You know, because there's so many different facets to it. You know, social media marketing. You know, I've tried to jump on as hard and as fast as I could, but like my Instagram, my professional Instagram needs a lot of help, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of companies are doing that, because I mean, the next thing that's going to come out, I mean, besides, you know, Facebook's for like, you know, our parents and us, and then Instagram is for, you know, the Gen Z and millennials, you know, and it keeps going down, and there's going to be another one that comes out. I mean, and he's only 18, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
he's my kid's age, you know, they just know it so inherently, and it just comes so naturally to them. So, I mean, you know, getting a business degree and going, you know, that way with it, even taking that business degree and going into marketing,
Mm-hmm.
I think would actually put him at an advantage because of his age.
Yeah. And he also at 18, I don't know what his living situation is, but you can fail pretty much with no consequences at 18. So feel free to try anything. And I mean, you're never going to have more freedom than you do graduating at 18 from college. I really just try something, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Another good opportunity to look at these freelance sites. I don't know if you've ever been on Fiverr, Alicia, but it's a crazy, like cornucopia of weird skills that people have. Like they'll be, I started doing voiceovers on there about 9 years ago, and it grew into this really good part-time job, that I still do now. And people like, but there's people all over like that do everything on there. There's some people who will make like stop motion animations for you, where they'll just like drag little letters onto a camera and do like stop motion shot where it spells something. There's people who will just hold, like they live in a really weird location. Like the one guy lives in like the jungles in Africa, and he goes to his well every day, and he'll draw your message on a sign, like a piece of poster board, and he'll come out of the well and pop up your message. And he does this
Oh, wow.
manually, and it's like, it's pretty, I mean, I don't know what the conversion is for in dollars, but it's like $100 for him to do that. It's a great like value add for somebody who really wants that weird video, and it's probably a great gig for him.
Oh, for sure.
Poke around on there and just start, like, if you have no idea, it's probably in part because you don't know what your options are. So just start looking at all the weird stuff that people do out in the world, and maybe something comes to you. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else for Ryan? Good job graduating at 18.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's huge. That is
I
absolutely
mean,
huge. And yeah, no, I mean, so, you know, wish you the best, but I mean, dude, you're 18. You have time.
yeah, that's all you
You know,
have.
I mean,
We
you
would
have
kill
time to
you
kind
for
of
that. We would
to
kill
figure it
you for
all
that
out.
kind of time.
Oh, I know, right?
And to be, I mean, that far ahead too is really cool. If you're going to graduate college at 18, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So good luck, Ryan. Don't sweat it and fail. Just keep failing. You could fail. I failed like all the way until I was 30 at stuff that I was trying, like different business ventures, different, like, it's just keep failing. You're going to be fine. Last one, I subbed this one in. So this is, you are not briefed on this one, but I wanted to get to 8 and the one was deleted. So this is from Brelah. Have a broken heart and need advice. Is it bad to think about my ex and cry after the breakup? I've gotten closure with them. I don't know that sentence. He broke up with me because I argued a lot, and it hurts so bad because he doesn't want anything to do with me anymore. How can I stop being argumentative and heal from this and move on? We got back together in December, and we broke up for the first time in September for the same reason. He said he gets angry when he thinks about me, and that hurts a lot because I would argue with him because he was super selfish and didn't care about my needs when all I did was care about his. Run? Just go get away? Doesn't sound healthy, maybe?
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound healthy at all.
Oh, that's brutal. I mean, I feel bad for her, but this just sounds like one of those toxic relationships that, um, I don't know how old Brelah is, but I would venture she's young. This sounds like the young, possessive teenage relationship.
You know, yeah, it does actually. And, you know, it's oh my gosh, I feel like I've done nothing but say cliche things today, but I mean,
If they work,
right,
they're
cliche
true.
are,
That's why,
right?
yeah. There's a reason.
You know, it's okay for him not to like you, but you need to like you. And, you know, if he wasn't willing to put up with your, you know, how much you argued, you know, or whatever, that's okay. You'll find somebody who will. Not saying that you are, not saying that she is or anything, but, you know, if that's what his perception of her is, then, you know, she'll find somebody that she can have that with.
Yeah.
You know, my, I really have only been in two kind of long-term relationships. Like I said, I mean, my husband and I will be married 20 years this May. So the boy I dated before my husband, one of the things that he didn't like about me, was that, you know, I tend to beat a dead horse. Once my point's been made, and I will drive it home that I told you so, that you should have listened to me, you know, all those kind of things. He's like, you just keep beating this dead horse. My husband finds it adorable that, you
It's
know,
not
like
your
3 days
fault. You're
later, I
always
look at her
right.
and be like, I told you that, you know, XYZ was going to happen, you know, out of the blue at dinner. And he says that's absolutely adorable.
Oh, that's nice.
So, I mean, that's one of those things that you need to find, you know, in your next person. And I mean, he's not worth your time, being being distraught enough that you felt like you needed to put it out there into the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's part of your healing, which, I totally get and I totally understand, but, and I know it's hard, because you think that person's it, but, you can still, you need to enjoy you, and you need to enjoy that part of your personality. I mean, if he says that you're argumentative and you feel like you are, then maybe that's something that you need to look at personally. But if you don't feel like you are and he's just picking fights with you, then maybe you'll find somebody who thinks it's adorable, to say I told you so in 20 years.
Yeah. That's it. Great advice. I agree. It just seems this feels like that one of those first couple relationships where it's like when you're a teenager or whatever, where it's just like possessive and just bad. Like it doesn't sound like you're in a great place with each other, and he gets angry when he thinks about me. What a horrible thing to say. Like that would just, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that was hurtful, I think, to be hurtful.
Yeah. That just doesn't sound good. Get
No.
away, Brelah, please. Alicia, this was awesome. Yeah, good. You had good advice. That was not all cliches. That was good stuff.
Well, thank you.
um, so I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you
Well,
kind of running this experiment with me here.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really fun.
So.